Welcome back and hello if you are new, so thank you ever so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying some of my album of the years so far. We've seen 10 amazing albums, but now we get to the ones which separate the men from the boys, the ladies from the girls. Absolutely fantastic albums. So I'm kicking off my third album of the year part with Ulcerate and Stare Into Death and Be Still. So, I'll level with you guys. Ulcerate I found on their Vermis album, and I really liked Ulcerate, but then for some reason when they had their follow-up Shrines of Paralysis, I just didn't really gel with it. And that's one of the reasons that I kind of slept on this album. And I remember when it was first announced, everyone was very excited about it, and I kind of thought, I saw all of these amazing positive reviews. I was still a bit kind of sleeping on it, but then I decided, okay, well maybe finally I'll check it out. And it is an absolute beast of a record. What Ulcerate do on this album is combine a sense of atmosphere with that sense of dissonance to really create a sound that is 100% encompassing. Weirdly, it has this sort of duality between being incredibly beautiful and ugly, but at the same time being incredibly abrasive, and there's a real sense of kind of relaxation I find with it. I really think that I was stupid to have slept on this, but do you know what? I'm kind of glad that I did, because some of my favourite albums in past years have been albums I haven't even reviewed, and you kind of discover them. So Ulcerate, Stare Into Death and Be Still, an absolute masterpiece. So this is the debut album of a band that features members of Revocation, Native Construct, and it blew me away. The reason I loved this album, I think, is because, again, like a lot of these, you get stuck in this universe, but there's a real sense of darkness, of malevolence, and I think the best way I can describe it is like jazz prog. There are amazing performances on instruments throughout this record, for sure, but for me, it's that sense of kind of a bit of a darker universe that we're going into, and also it sounds nothing like I thought it would. And they prove that despite having, members from incredibly talented bands, they have their own sound completely. It's absolutely a fantastic record. It's been one of my favourites, I think, since the first time I heard it, and I've just listened to it again and again and again. So this is another win from 20 Buck Spin. Again, like I said, this is a brand new band. I had no idea these guys existed, and honestly, I was so excited about this album, and it delivered on every single front. They're from Rome, and their sound, I guess, in a snapshot, you could say, is like King Diamond meets late era Opeth via Death. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, is those different contrasting sections where you go into that universe again. And it really does make something that I hadn't heard in a very long time. The band are also on tour with Cryptic Shift next year. It's also one of the final pieces of work from Timo Ketola, and I think that artwork is really reflected in the music. It has this really kind of quite murky atmosphere, it's very uncertain, and then it kind of ebbs and flows, has these crescendos. It's truly a fantastic piece of music, and if you're a fan of death metal, and in particular melody, I think you'll really love it. Next up is proof that HAKEN are, without a doubt, one of the best modern prog bands out there. Now, I got into these guys on their Mountain album, and the reason I mention that is because HAKEN's Virus, which is their brand new album, concludes the saga that was begun in The Cockroach King. It's the sister album to Vector, which was the one previous, and it has such a massive conceptual arc. And I love the fact that there's so many little Easter eggs which are throwbacks to material on Vector, but also in Cockroach King. I think that finally HAKEN have found their identity, they've found their voice. and some of the guitar work on Virus is just absolutely second to none. To be fair, I think they've really evolved on this one, and honestly, there is not a prog album out this year like it. Wayfarer's Romance with Violence really did blindside me. What I love, I think, the most about Wayfarer is, for one, their theme is something completely different. It's looking at the Great Wild West from the US, but with black metal in it. This kind of country sound, and it's also quite blues oriented, but then they use that sort of harpsichord piano kind of thing to create that sort of atmosphere. But they even go as far as using kind of like similar melodies, similar sort of scales that you would hear in the classics of like Ennio Morricone. And thematically, the album explores the idea of manifest destiny, you know, the railroad. I think it's so clever that they're able to kind of create a duality between that sort of limitless exploration that was part of what the manifest destiny was, and this exploration that we have now in the modern day. But for me, what really drove it home is that sense of experimentation, and that is what I love in a band. So those are my picks for this week. I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know what you think. And we've only got one more week and then I reveal my top 5. So if you did enjoy this video, it'd be great if you could hit that like and subscribe button. Otherwise, I will see you very soon. Take care, my friends. See you later.